Welcome back to Caddy Corner. And this episode looks a little bit different. Austin, you changed a bit. Tell us what happened.
The funny thing is I'm not Austin.
That is crazy. You're right. Tell us who you are.
Well, I'm your dad. First and foremost, my name is Chris Nesbitt, and I'm just a happy guest here at Caddy Corner today.
Perfect. Thanks for coming on. We love having guests on here. It's a nice little change that we get to add to the show and give the people some insight that we can't give them. So thank you for coming on.
Pleasure.
So first, I just want to start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I don't know how far you want me to go back.
Just start with what you're doing now.
Okay. Well, I am employed at Rowan Cabarrus Community College. I'm the Dean of Public Services. That means that I oversee all the credit and non-credit programs for fire, law, emergency management, and EMS.
Sweet. That's very neat. So what do you enjoy the most about being a dean?
Well, I love being in education, and I learned that several years ago. I love educating, and I loved being able to impact individuals to help them to make their lives better. And one of the things that we are able to do, not just at Rowan Cabarrus Community College, but in community college in general, is to really meet people where they are and take them to their next phase in life. So I really enjoy being able to be a part of individuals, students, as they maybe start their educational journey straight out of high school, or for those individuals who make a decision later in life that maybe I want to change my path and be able to come back and start a new program, and start a new certificate or whatever the case may be, but just to meet them where they are, help them along their journey, and to help them to get to their next phase, whatever that goal may be.
Definitely. So speaking of RCCC in general, you like it there?
Oh, I love it.
Very nice.
Yeah, so I think part of the name community. I grew up right here in Rowan County, so I've lived and worked in Cabarrus County, and that's what community college is all about: is serving community, being community partners, and that's the piece I really love about being involved in the community college system, is being embedded in our community, helping to make our community better.
Yeah, so it's very cool to hear your perspective on that, because most people hear the word community college and they think that it's some joke and it's kind of fake school. So it's cool to hear somebody who works in the community college program and their perspective on what community college is.
Well, there's certainly a negative stigmatism to the term community college, and a lot of people don't understand what the community college truly offers. And to be honest, I was one of those individuals. I spent my time in four-year institutions and other institutions of higher learning, and it really wasn't until I became embedded in the community college system to realize that community colleges are truly impactful, and it really serves a purpose. One, it really prepares individuals to make that next step, to continue their journey, and if that means out of high school. We believe that we want to be the first institution, first college of choice, regardless of where your goal is, because we offer pathways to get people to wherever they want to go. But the community college is really the best kept secret, I believe, in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. The tuition is relatively inexpensive compared to other colleges and universities. We have high caliber faculty, high caliber staff. We really work hard in workforce development to help our economic development progress in our community. And it really brings things together that people may not have otherwise known unless they truly experience a community college. It's a tremendous investment. We have a tremendous college transfer program. Most of the students here at Rowan Cabarrus Community College, I would think, are in our college transfer program, and we've had great success. Our students go anywhere in North Carolina they choose. We have several that end up in UNC Chapel Hill, NC State. A lot of go out of state. And then, again, the workforce development piece, we call that continuing education or non-credit courses. Now, we have some of the finest programs across the state, and it's specifically, I'll mention my area because I'm proud of it, but our fire program is the largest fire program in the state of North Carolina. Our EMS program is the third largest in the state of North Carolina, and our law enforcement training program is typically ranks in the top 10. I think right now we're about 8 in the largest in the state. So lots of opportunity, lots of quality instruction, and really the best kept secret in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's very neat. I think one of the coolest things, as you were talking about the transfer program here at RCCC, and I'm actually one of the students in the transfer program at RCCC, and one of the things that sticks out to me the most out of the whole school is the advising staff here. So go into a little detail about that.
Well, advising is it's extremely important, and one of the things that advising does is help an individual find out not only what they want to be, but find out what they want to do. Because I think that's the problem a lot of times is individuals, they don't know what they know what they want to be, but they really don't know what they want to do because those aren't the same. So advising is really helping individuals establish their goal. So what is it that you want to do? And I'll use you as an example. You want to be a creator.
Correct.
You want to create content. But because you want to create content, that's what you want to do. But what you want to be could be a plethora of things.
It's an infinite amount of things.
So that's the thing, is helping people to establish what you want to do. Then we can put you on the pathway to help you to get there. And then in whatever it is you choose to become, it aligns with the thing that you want to do, because that's the most important thing, really enjoying what you do. And I've heard you say this countless times on your show, find that thing that you want to do and do whatever you can to continue doing that for the rest of your life. And that's paraphrased, but
yeah, definitely. I think that's something that me and Austin both are very passionate about, is finding what you love and then figuring out how you can do that for the rest of your life is one of the most important things that you can do, because nobody wants to work a job that they hate just because it pays well or just because they didn't try the hardest in school and they wanted to cut corners or whatever. You have to find what you love and then figure out how you can do that for the rest of your life. And I think that the advising staff here is very good at helping people find what they love and figuring out ways that they can do that for the rest of their life.
And I'd just like to add, and the community college is a tremendous way to find out what it is that you like to do.
Definitely.
Because there's lots of opportunity, and there's college and career promise pathways for students that are still in high school. There's career and technical education for students that are still in high school. And in those programs, you can take free college classes and try to find something that you enjoy doing to help to ensure that you're on the right path, whether that path is continue at a community college, it's workforce, it's military, or you go to a 4-year college or university. But people really learn what they want to do when they have exposure. I call it experiential learning, hands-on, kinesthetic learning. When you're doing, it helps you to understand and process and synthesize information and really put pieces together to help you understand, is this what I really enjoy doing? If it is, then that is your light. And that's your light at the end of the tunnel. So that's your goal. And then you want to find the right path to get you to your destination and find that light.
Definitely. So what are some pieces of advice that you would give to students? We'll start with students that are in high school, in their last couple years of high school, going into college soon. What's some advice that you would give them?
I'll just kind of go back to that piece I just said. Start while you're in high school. College and career promise opportunities, career and technical education opportunities. Start then to experiment and find out what you like to do. And if you can do that, again, it's free while you're in high school. So the tuition free, it's a tremendous investment. It's a smart investment. Those courses that you complete, that's college credit that transfers to any UNC system institution. But again, it's helping you to ensure, one, that what you think you want to do is in fact the thing that you want to do. I'll use you as an example. You were in high school and you enrolled in some college classes. You were working on your CNA, thought that nursing was the pathway for you. You learned a skill, you earned a credential, but along the way you realized, I don't know if I'm passionate about nursing.
Yeah.
But you experienced that, you earned a credential, you learned a skill, and that's something that you can maintain. So it's not a lost cause.
Yeah, totally.
But you were able to broaden your horizon, and you were able to experience. And so if I can, one thing I would recommend is taking advantage of that opportunity while you're in high school to enroll and engage in college and career promise and career and technical education.
All right. So what would you give to some advice to somebody who it's their first year in college, and they just graduated high school and they're going into college and they're looking for schools? What was some advice that you would give them?
Well, one, find the school that has the program that interests you. Research. Hopefully you've already researched and found out that the program, the school offers the program that you want. College is an investment, and it's easy that first year to fall short, because leaving high school and into college, that's a huge transition, and a lot of times that's a transition that a lot of us, we're not prepared for it. College is just different than high school, and regardless of where you are, regardless of the institution, the demands are different, timelines are different, there's lots of independence, there's lots of freedom, there's a lot of autonomy, and you can get caught up in a lot of extracurricular activities and really distract you from staying on point, staying on your mission. And so I guess another piece of advice for those individuals out of high school and first year of college is just stay committed. Have fun, but remember what the ultimate goal is. Because I can tell you, from my experience, we see a lot of return students from four-year institutions to the community college, one, because something happened during that first year, they didn't do well, they weren't prepared, they weren't committed, and so they come back to a community college, specifically Rowan Cabarrus, and then they get back on track, and whether that's a transfer or they just find something here, they earn a credential to help them to get a job that they want. So stay committed, stay focused, stay on task, have fun while you're there. But in the end, it's going to be hard work, and you have to be committed and make sacrifices.
All right. So now, what is a piece of advice that you would give to somebody who is about to graduate college and about to enter the workforce?
So the question, what do you do if you're graduating college and entering the workforce? What is some advice? I guess one piece of advice I could give is be patient. Because sometimes the job that you want, it may not happen right out of college. And sometimes it takes just getting your foot in the door, a start somewhere. And hopefully it's in your area where you want to work. But sometimes the job market can be tough. Don't get discouraged. Be patient. Build a great resume. Have someone professionally either prepare your resume, work with you to develop a resume, review a resume, but make sure that you're representing yourself in the most professional manner, because how you present yourself, your character, your demeanor, it goes a long way when you're conducting interviews. But patience, I think, is the most important thing. Hopefully that job opportunity opens up and you can get in your dream job early on. But that's not always the case, so patience, I think, is a tremendous virtue.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And a lot of people don't recognize that happens, that they go to school for however long, and then they're out of college and they're like yes, I finally made it. I get to work and do this for the rest of my life, but usually that's not the case. And something that we talk about a pretty good bit on and off the pod, me and Austin do, is you have to love the suck. So whatever field you're going into, you have to love the go to the office and make your boss a coffee, or stop by the donut shop and come in with breakfast. You know, you have to love that kind of stuff, and you have to love being an assistant to somebody before you get to do ultimately what you love to do. And so that's a very good point. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and I think even when you start into your career, now patience is also a virtue, and it's easy to get caught up in promotion and upward mobility. And sometimes that happens faster for some than it does others. But again, nothing wrong with having aspirations, but I would just say do your best.
Yeah.
In whatever capacity you're serving, if it's that capacity, it's not your dream job, but it's a foot in the door, do your very best. Do your very best in everything you do. You maybe heard me say that
all the time.
I think Aristotle said it best. He said, "We are what we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not a single act, but a habit."
Yes.
And if you're always striving for your best in every phase of life, excellence becomes the bar.
Yep.
And the standard, and people take notice, and good things happen.
Yeah. So we're gonna get away from the student advice, but
Okay.
what is a piece of advice that you would give somebody who's thinking about working in education?
Don't do it. A piece of advice I would give someone wanting to enter a career in education. One, you have to ensure that you love students. And that's something I'm driven by student success. I love to see students succeed. I love to see them learn. And sometimes that's difficult. Your patience can be tried. They can be tested. But it's totally rewarding. The best times I have in education are graduation ceremonies.
Yeah.
And it's a time to celebrate the achievement of individuals who have put in work, time, effort, sacrifices, but it all becomes worth it. All of those blood, sweat, and tears it's happened, it's done. The ceremony we celebrate, and to see them just proud, see proud families, excited, celebrating together, I love it. And it's those types of moments that just keep me energized. And so you have to have a passion for students. You have to have a passion for student success. You have to make sure that what you're doing is student focused, student centered, and making sure that the decisions that you make are in line with helping students to get as far as they can. And understanding that every student does not have the same ability. All students are not on the same equal playing field. And that different learning styles, different teaching styles, those things are paramount to make sure that you give the students everything that they need to help them to be successful.
Gotcha. That's very good. All right. So now we're going to hop in a time machine, and we're going to take it way back to whenever you were at RCCC getting your basic law enforcement training.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that, some stories maybe, or your favorite memory, or anything like that laid on us.
Okay, so we had to go way, way back. You want me to give the year? Does that matter?
You can. It's up to you. He's an old man.
So I could remember it just like it was yesterday. So February 2nd, 1996 was my first day in basic law enforcement training. And I remember the BLED director standing in front of the class and giving us the rules, laying it down what we could and couldn't do. And I remember stories that he told, mannerisms, and it was intimidating. It was scary. we were all brand new, had no clue what to expect, and we just got into this room and told, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that, and thought, what can we do? And it was an intimidating time, but when you get into the program, it was really one of the funnest things that I ever did. It was challenging mentally, physically, because you had a lot of long days, a lot of information in a short period of time, lots of tests. Almost every day or every other day you were taking a test, and all that was to help prepare you for an entry-level position in law enforcement. So you took the course, you took a state exam, then you qualified for your law enforcement certification. And I guess if I had a story, one thing that I remember, we did firearms training, and our lead firearms instructor, his name is Wayne Berenger. At the time he was a lieutenant at the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office, and he was an imposing, intimidating individual, and he could shoot. And I just remember the whole time we were in firearms training, he challenged all of us to basically a shoot-off with him. And he kept on us all week. And nobody would take him up. I mean, we were all scared to death because we'd seen him shoot. We went through drills where we would totally disassemble our weapons, and that was part of it. We had to put them back together, load, and then shoot a course of fire. And nobody could even come close to him. But the thing was, he kept pushing us and pushing us and pushing us. And not that he was trying, it did scare us. We were like, oh my gosh, he wants us to challenge him? Like, no way. But it made us focus, just by him trying to, play a game. It really made us focus, and it really made us shoot better, because when you're focused, things seem to be more important. And so I'll never forget him challenging us, and all of us being too scared to challenge him. And he was a remarkable individual, and he's still around, hanging out, and he comes by and visits every once in a while.
Nice. That's very cool. So now I want to hear some stories about your police officer days.
I don't know if I can tell those. So after BLET, I entered as a patrol officer at a local police department, and I guess some of the stories. So anytime you enter into a law enforcement profession, you have some type of field training, and you're assigned what's called a field training officer. And my field training officer happened to be an individual who was older, but for some reason he latched on. He really liked me, and he really became one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And so he really loved serving arrest warrants. So when you're in law enforcement, there's lots of opportunity to do different things. Some people like traffic. Some people like writing tickets, traffic enforcement. Some people like traffic investigation. There's criminal investigations. There's vice and narcotics investigations, and you can do lots of different things in each of those areas within law enforcement. So this particular individual, he loved serving warrants. And so we would make lots of arrests, and we would take those individuals to the magistrate for processing, and then on to the jail facility. And where we worked, we didn't have our own jail. So the area where I worked, we served 2 counties, and each of those counties had a county seat which housed the jail. And especially at night, we would make an arrest, and we would go to one of those jails. And on our way back, we would always stop at a donut shop.
Gotta love it.
And so police officers and donuts. And at this particular time in my life, I was very health conscious. Like I wouldn't eat a donut. And so my training officer, he would always get a donut and a cup of coffee.
Man, the stereotype is just spot on. Did this guy have a mustache?
No, but and he wouldn't stay in the restaurant or the donut shop. He would always go out and stand on the curb in front of traffic. So I would get a bagel and coffee, and he had his donut and coffee, and we're both standing outside, just so traffic coming by, they can see us, and he looked at me and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean, what are you doing?" He said, "You're going to give us a bad image."
You're gonna have a donut.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll never forget that. And when you're young, you're impressionable. And he never put a lid on his coffee, never.
Yeah.
Full cup of coffee, styrofoam cup, driving around, bouncing all over, not a drip ever dropped, not ever spilled. So I thought, well, I'm just not going to put a lid on my coffee. Well, he would intentionally go over every speed bump, hit every pothole, run over the curb, doing everything I could to spill my coffee. And I'm chasing my coffee around, trying to keep it in my cup. And we had tremendous times, but my times with him were probably some of the funnest that I had, just because we goofed off. We worked hard. He taught me a lot. He cared about me. He wanted me to be successful. And he was very impressionable at me when I was still a very young individual. So I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, that's very cool. So taking a trip back to, I just had a memory. You were the most outstanding BLET student out of your class. That's pretty impressive.
So I was the most outstanding student. I was the most physically fit, and I was also the top gun. So I was the best shooter in my class.
So basically what he's saying is my dad is a stud and a legend whenever it comes to BLET, and now he's over it all at RCCC. And that's pretty cool.
It is cool. For years, I was the director for law enforcement training, and I was also the program chair for criminal justice technology. So in that capacity, I became the school director for basic law enforcement training. And when I assumed those roles and those responsibilities, that individual who led my first orientation was my dean. He was the person that I reported to. And I stole a lot of his content when I would do my orientations. And so I really love being in education. I truly am passionate about law enforcement and developing future law enforcement officers. And I'm proud that I'm able to even expand that into all the disciplines of public services and public safety.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, that's all I have. So do you have anything else before we wrap this thing up?
I would just say, if I may, find what your light at the end of the tunnel is. Find your light at the end of the tunnel. And that is the thing that you want to do. And once you find out what you want to do, if that passion is enough, if your want to is big enough, then your how to will follow. Meaning whatever your goal is, whatever you desire to do, if that desire, that passion is big enough, you're going to figure out a way to do it. And that's just another way to say what you and Austin continually say.
Yep.
Find that thing that you love and figure out a way to do it for the rest of your life.
Yep.
I think that is so impactful, and I think it's true. So figure out what that light at the end of the tunnel is. See it, visualize yourself doing it, being the best at it that you can be, and do what you have to do to get there, and it'll be rewarding. Anything you do, anything that you want, there's a challenge to it. Nothing is ever easy. And life is about doing hard things in one way or the other. If it's school, that's hard. Life, that's hard. So do your best. Prepare the best way that you can. And just have a successful journey.
Yeah.
And that's really what life is all. It's not going to be simple. It's not going to be easy. But you can have a successful and rewarding journey through life, and just want to end up with that.
Yeah. Well, this was very good. You
Well,
came with the heat today.
I don't know. I know I enjoyed it, And I think the piece I enjoyed most is just because that it's you.
Yeah, I know.
And,
You can't beat this.
And
for those of you who don't understand how big of a deal this is for me, this is what I love. And being able to come and record an episode about my dad talking about what he loves is just the coolest thing. And nothing can top that. So,
well, I'm proud of you. I love you.
I love you too.
And you're doing wonderful work, and I'm super pleased, super happy, super proud.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, everybody, that's going to wrap this episode up. Thanks for tuning in. That was Caddy Corner. I'm Caleb. I always forget to say that. I even forgot to say it in the biggest episode that I've ever recorded. I'm Caleb. He's Chris. We love you guys. Peace out.